Hello, and thank you for joining us today. We have a very special interview today in order to celebrate National Cancer Survivor Day, along with the Association of Cancer Support Centers. Joining me today is Vanessa Little, a stage 2 breast cancer survivor. Vanessa, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Vanessa, and I live in Bar Harbor with my husband, 2 kids, golden retriever, and 2 chinchillas that we accumulated during the coronavirus pandemic.
So let's just jump right in. Obviously, you were diagnosed with stage 2 breast cancer. What was the biggest barrier you had to overcome while going through your diagnosis?
I feel like the hardest part was the diagnosis to the having a treatment plan. Like when I think about when I lost the most sleep and felt the most anxiety, I mean, there was still more anxiety to come, but my cancer was diagnosed on a screening MRI that I really almost didn't get. I thought my primary care doctor was being a little over the top, and why would I need that? But she was right, and I'm grateful that I had it. So I really was not expecting this at all. And it was, so that was the obstacle of, okay, here I am in Bar Harbor, and I just got this news on a Sunday night. Like, what do I do? So there was lots of phone calls and trying to get myself an oncology appointment. At that point, you don't know how big, how far spread, what the treatment is going to be. Yeah, so that was hard. Yeah. And then the obstacles that left on the way were just, it's a long way to certain resources that I decided to seek out. And then with the pandemic, there was limited childcare and limited school and limited helpers. And that was hard.
Yeah. The COVID on top of everything else, it was just layers of just stressful things, stressful situations on top of a cancer diagnosis. That must have been really difficult. What brought you strength as you were going through this? What did you focus on to kind of center yourself?
My family. I remember just like the confusion around, I can't separate COVID from cancer. Like the confusion around people setting up pods and what was okay for other people just wasn't okay for us. And me feeling like, is this fair to my kids? And my husband said to me one day, which was just the perfect thing to say, wear a pod. You and me and the girls wear the pod. And I just like held on to that and brings tears to my eyes because he was like, we had to get through it. And so it meant that I had to go to cancer treatment alone more than I had anticipated because he was with the kids. The Dempsey Center has supported my family. It was the social worker in radiation oncology who mentioned the Dempsey Center to me when I was asking her about support for my kids. And so that was what initially brought me to the Dempsey Center, and the Support for Seedlings program was great. And it was on Zoom because I'm not very close to anything where I live. And we probably wouldn't have accessed it if we had had to drive to the center. But that we could log in on Monday afternoons was fantastic, and that my kids really enjoyed it. And I felt good that they had an outlet to be like, there are other kids that are facing cancer in their family somehow, somebody else teaching them about the vocabulary, a place that they could ask questions besides to me, because their worlds were so small.
So obviously, being a parent, being diagnosed with cancer, undergoing treatment, and navigating a global pandemic is an extremely challenging life situation. And sounds like you handled it pretty well. Did you work through treatment, or did you have to go back to work? Or
so I'm a palliative care physician. So I work with great supportive people that are used to dealing with serious illness. And I had a lot, so I was able to work from home and very reduced hours. Um, and there were times that I thought, I can't do this. I mean, I remember I had to study for my palliative care boards during my cancer treatment. And I felt like every question was saying, 43-year-old woman with metastatic breast cancer, and how do you tell her 4-year-old child? And I would like lose it because it all felt way too close. And yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but those were some of the hard. Yeah. So my work, that's where it was. Yes, I worked, but in a reduced way. But one of the things that this experience brought me, I mean, there were times that I thought, I can't go back to this line of work. What am I doing? I mean, obviously there were long periods of this that I was just hoping to survive and be able to continue to raise my kids. But I feel like I learned two things. For one, at the beginning, I was like, my husband can't do it alone. And now I think, I hope he never has to, but he could. And I know that I've found other friendships that would be able to support my girls if they had to, in a very authentic and deep way. And now I also have like a recommitment to my profession. And I hope that with everything that I've been through, I will be able to make other people that are living with serious illness and that are facing uncertainty and suffering or fear in whatever way, like I hope I can ease that in some small way.
That's incredible. I actually kind of leads me into my next question. I'm curious. Obviously, this is a life-changing situation in so many different ways, but can you tell me a little bit about what you learned about yourself through all of this?
Yeah, I saw that question on the list, and I have like an initial aversion because I just finished treatment a couple months ago, and I feel like I still don't want to turn it into like a silver lining event. Like I wish it didn't happen. And yes, I know I learned some things, but I'm like not ready to give it that positive spin. I mean, I remember people would say, "Oh, you're so strong, you're so strong," and I'm like, I don't want to be. Like I don't. Sometimes you don't feel it, and you actually just want. I don't. I just wanted someone to make it easier. And sometimes that's possible in some ways, but like the big brunt of it, of like facing your mortality possibly, is a really isolating thing. I guess what I'm learning now that I'm talking this through, I don't want to lose that. What that close brush with my own mortality has brought me is and probably may sound cliche as the words come out, but like I realized how much I love my life and how much I don't want to. I don't want to forget the preciousness of it and get back into the grind. And I imagine that might happen for people that as cancer gets farther and farther in the rearview mirror and life becomes more and more mundane again. Like I'm trying to set traps for myself in the future so that I remember how at one point, like I didn't care that my hair was falling out and I didn't care that I had neuropathy. I just wanted to do whatever it took to survive. And then once you're like, okay, I think I might survive this. Now the neuropathy and my hair falling out and the body changes rides up in the annoyance of the day. That makes sense.
That's incredible. It's not something that you hear very often. And a lot of people kind of assume that when you're finished treatment, you're done and you move on. And it was this experience that you can kind of move on from, and that was in the past. And so hearing your firsthand experience is super important. Being able to put that into words and say, this isn't who I am, but it still had a really big impact on the way I present myself, the way I am, the way I feel. So thank you so much for sharing that. really
Yeah,
good.
and it was other survivors that said to me, I like a peer that I think I met through the Dempsey Center, and said, you like you're thinking about this all the time now, but that will get less and less, and it's hard to even believe it when you're in it. But I don't think about it all the time now. I definitely think about it every day, multiple times a day, but it's not constant, and that's an improvement.
That's great. And it's only going to get better from there. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Vanessa. This was really great, and it was wonderful to hear your perspective. Thank you so much for sitting down with me today. And thank you for those watching. Happy National Cancer Survivors Day.